do you want to help film today? You're gonna help do the wrap up? Nice little helper, right? Aria wants to help chat about, oh, she's like, actually, no, I don't. About the 6 books that I read in July. Honestly, this should be one of my quickest wrap-ups if I don't just turn this into like 30 minutes of yapping, which like I won't allow myself to do, quite frankly. But yeah, I only read 6 books in July, but here's the thing, I liked all of the 6 books that I read, so I get to talk to you about them all. But yeah, it was a pretty slow reading month for me. Quite frankly, I have been in the worst slump that I've ever been in now. And I still don't know really how to get out of it. I'm still waiting to kind of bust it. So for right now, we only got through 6 books, which you know what, I'm still proud of. So anyways, first up that I read this month was Charming Like Us by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the 7th book in the Like Us series, which is the 2nd generation series from the Addicted/Calloway Sisters series. So those are the parents' books. And then this series is all of their kids with their bodyguards. However, this one is kind of the anomaly in the series because this one follows one of the bodyguards and then also the TV show producer that like follows the famous kids around. So it's actually like no one in the direct like family tree, but you know these two, Oliver and Jack, right? Oliver and Jack, you see them in other books. I think out of all of them, you could probably pick this one up as a standalone out of the entire series just because it's like this is a one-off, like this is their only book, but obviously you get a lot more context reading the other one, so I'm not really going to get too much into what this one is about, but basically Oliver is a bodyguard for these famous families and Jack is a TV show producer who's producing the show for them, and Oliver's client Charlie ends up wanting to do like a spin-off show just of himself, and that then puts like Jack and Oliver in a lot closer force proximity. Do you want to say hi? Look, his ear hair's gone. I'm so sad. If you guys remember, Dorian normally has like really long ear hair. It's gone now. I don't know what happened to it. He like shedded it like a month ago and I'm having a crisis about it because that was just part of his identity and I hope it grows back. Anyways, then these two get put into force proximity with each other, always being around because of Charlie kind of being in the middle. And Oliver actually asked Jack one time if he could kiss him, and Jack was like, yeah, no, I'm not interested, because Jack so far has only dated women in his life and he thought that he was straight. And now that he's 26, he's kind of wondering like, am I? And he's kind of figuring himself out, and then it ends up being their romance. I really enjoyed this one. Still not my favorite in the series. Like Tangled Like Us and Alphas Like Us, I don't think honestly any book can beat either of those two in that series. Those are like god tier books for me, but I still really enjoyed this one. I love this series and I have a good time every time I pick up one of these books. Next up, I read a novella called Dead Devil's Night by Mari Rose. So this one was a recommendation from Madison. She's Mouse Loves Books on Instagram. I'll tag her channel down below. But anyways, this was a rec from her when I had asked for some novella recs, and this one was so fun. If you want a revenge romance, then I definitely recommend picking this one up. And also it is a novella, so it's short, quick, to the point, grabbed my attention and kept it, and also made me feel really accomplished when I was able to finish this in like a day. So this one, our heroine, there is this thing in this world called Dead Devil's Night that's kind of like the Purge-ish kind of night, and she had this like little found family between herself and then these 2 brothers, and they were all kind of like together. They had met when they were all in foster care, and then now as adults they all like live together. However, she was not with either of the brothers, but she was always kind of like in love with the brothers. And at the very beginning of the book, one Dead Devil's Night, these 5 men, I think 4 or 5 men, break into their home, kill the 2 guys, and then brutalize her and leave her for dead basically. Only she survived the attack, and now a year later she has had time to plot her revenge and her grief, and on the next Dead Devil's Night she is fully ready to go out and track down each of those men and make them pay not only for what they did to her but what they did to her 2 best friends. It's really fun. I don't know, I don't really have much else to say about it. It was just a really good time. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, like I said, if you're looking for some good old revenge, supporting women's wrongs, love it. Next up, I read a step sibling why choose, which is Hearts of Fortune by E. Wynn. So this is the first book. I don't know how many books are going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a duet or like a trilogy or something, but I will say that this one does end on a cliffhanger. And this one, our heroine, her mother marries this super wealthy older dude who has 3 sons, 1 biological and 2 adopted. So like the guys are not all related. But anyways, she ends up, obviously when her mom gets married, moving in there, and the parents are like, stepbrothers, make your sister feel welcome. And she starts going to the same university as 2 of the other brothers, and one of them is already like out, he's like graduated, running a bank, like kind of like successful businessman vibes. As soon as she gets there, you know, they're welcoming to her, and it ends up being their romance. But then also on top of that, she starts getting like these threatening notes from someone, and yeah, she kind of has something that she is running from that no one really knows about, and you like uncover that as the story goes. Once again, it was just a good time. I love the step sibling trope. I love the forced proximity of it. I love the sneaking around. They're all like super duper rich too, which like that's fun to read about because I want to read about someone with unlimited funds to just do stupid things with, quite frankly. Yeah, it was just like a very fun, enjoyable book. I liked the cliffhanger actually, and I'm very intrigued to read book 2. I don't know if it's out or not, but if it's not, I will definitely be keeping it on my radar. And if it is, then I need to add it to my TBR so that way I don't forget about it, because I'm intrigued. I'm invested in this story. So we're already halfway through. Look at me go. Okay, this one is kind of cheating, but I do always include it anyways because I read these books probably like a minimum of 5 or 6 times. Starting Line, it's my own book. It released on July 22nd. Part of the reason too why I haven't like read a lot in the month of July was because gearing up for this release. So this one is my 3rd book that I've ever written. It is a complete standalone. It follows an Olympic swimmer and an Olympic gymnast, both on the road to the Summer Olympics, and they are filming a documentary together as they are both returning athletes. TJ is our heroine. She knows like nothing outside of gymnastics. That's like completely consumed her life. But now as she's facing kind of like her body breaking down and wondering what she's going to do after retirement, she's kind of panicking a little bit because she doesn't really know what she has outside of the gym if she doesn't have gymnastics. And Caleb is very much the opposite. Like, yeah, he loves swimming. He loves his sport. He's very dedicated to it, but he has like a full life outside of it. But this upcoming Olympics almost means more to him because rather than trying to win medals, which he already knows he's going to do because he's like the best at what he does and he's not afraid to say that, he's actually trying to beat his late father's record, who is also an Olympic swimmer. And they had a previous interaction at a past Olympics that TJ does not like Caleb very much. She's very much the golden girl and he's very much the bad boy. And yeah, it ends up being like their little romance, forced proximity, friends with, it's like dislike to friends to benefits to love. Yeah, I don't know. I really love this book. I definitely went on a journey with writing it. You can watch my writing vlog if you're curious about that. But yeah, it's out in the world. So I'm counting it in July because quite frankly, I read this like I don't know how many times. Okay, next up, I read The Bachelor by Marty Mann. This is the 5th book, and I think maybe it's the last book in the Dalton Brothers series. So I've read the first 3. I haven't read The Intern, and I still plan to, but when I heard about this one, it's a it's a best friend's brother and like lessons romance. I was like, oh, I need that right now. I'm like, this is what's gonna pull me out of my slump because I just need something like fun and spicy, and I love Marty Mann's books, and this definitely like I really, really enjoyed. I'm still not out of my slump yet, but I really liked this one a lot. I think the first one is still my favorite in this series, but this one anyways, our heroine, she is I think 24 at the start of this book, and she's always had a bit of a crush on her best friend's twin brother. Like they've known each other since they were kids, and like now as adults, she's still attracted to him even though he is very much like playboy type energy, like sleeps with a woman once and like doesn't think twice about it kind of deal. However, she has never been with anyone before, and she's just kind of like built it up in her head a little bit, and she's like, you know what, I just want this to kind of be done with. I don't want to be dealing with this anymore. You know, I don't want it to be with some like random person that I meet out at the bar. Like I want it to be with someone that I trust, but I'm also like sick of having this, you know, kind of like lingering in the back of my mind. So she ends up asking one night her best friend's twin brother, like, hey, do you want to help me out with that? And he immediately is like, nope, I can't do that, because even though he is very attracted to her, he had made a promise to his sister back when they were kids that they would not date each other's friends. Now as an adult, he's like, I really, was her name Oakland? Am I right on that? I don't know. Maybe not. Anyways, he was like, I really want you, but I can't have you. So he was like, here, let me make you a deal. If you still have not resolved this by a year from now, let me know, and then we'll do 4 lessons. And she has still not resolved that a year later. She reaches back out and she's like, hey, I'm ready. And yeah, he ends up embarking on some lessons with her, and then obviously they fall in love along the way. So yeah, like I said, it was fun, it was hot, I enjoyed it. I love Marnie Mann's writing. It's very, very dialogue heavy, which I like because it really just feels like you're there, kind of like watching these characters talk and interact with each other. I really enjoyed it. And last but not least, Vow of Deception by Rena Kent. So this one is a darker mafia like marriage book. It's the first book in a trilogy, and this one follows Leah and Jeremy. And in case if you've read like, why was I about to say Kingmakers? Not you, Legacy of Gods, have a son and a daughter, and then their son and daughter, they each have books in Legacy of God, God of Pain and God of Wrath. So after I read those, I was like, I need to go back and read their parents' books because I was very obsessed with their kids. And I'm like, and even the glimpses that we got of Jeremy, specifically the hero in this book, that we got of him in those, I was like, I'm into you. And I really enjoyed this. This might be, I think this is probably my favorite read of the month. So this one follows Leah and Jeremy, or technically Winter, because, so here's the thing. Jeremy is head up high up in the Russian mafia, right? And he has a wife, Leah. However, things happen and he ends up needing like a replacement wife. And that is where Winter comes into play, because she is this homeless woman living on the streets. And one day she bumps into Jeremy, and Jeremy sees her and is like, and Winter's like, I don't know what your deal is, sir, kind of like back off. And then he ends up finding her again and kind of like abducts her a little bit. And she's like, excuse me, what are you doing? And turns out, you know, she is a doppelganger for his wife, Leah. And he's like, I am in need of a wife now. I need someone to kind of just take her place without anyone noticing. So you're now going to come and become Leah. And she's like, no, I'm not. I mean, I'm not doing great for myself, but also like, I'm not going to do that with you. And he ends up kind of blackmailing her. So she ends up accepting, and she kind of like just steps into Leah's place in his life and becomes Leah. I am not going to say anything else plot-wise because I don't want to give anything away, but I will just say the entire time that I was reading this book, I was just kind of like, what is going on here? Like, what is going on? Because obviously I know like some things from Legacy of Gods, so I was like, what is this? What is that? And then this ends on a brutal cliffhanger, so I'm definitely going to keep going on with the series. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Definitely has some good twists and turns. Jeremy is so hot. Winter / Leah, loved her. I won't say anything more. I really enjoyed it. Anyways, I read that and really enjoyed it. And you know what? Yeah, I don't need to keep yapping because quite frankly, we actually have for once a short wrap up. So let's just go ahead and keep it that way. So anyways, that is it for today's video. I don't know. I think I do actually have mapped out what I have coming next week, but my planner is like buried at the bottom of that stack there and I don't feel like grabbing it quite frankly. So anyways, you'll see the videos when you see the videos. But anyways, that is it for today's video and I will see you when I see ya.